and welcome to the March edition of Maythorn Monthly. Another month, and where have I got to this time? Well, is there a clue behind me? It's a bombed-out church. We've got one of those in Liverpool. It's very windy here. The wind is blowing off the water. It could still be in Liverpool. The Mersey does that. Might be a clue in this tin of mints that I bought. If you take a closer look at that, you might know where we're going to be this month. We're now recording this on the new DJI Pocket 3, which belongs to Steve. Those of you who watch regularly will have seen us talking about this in his office. And he hasn't used it yet. Well, sorry, he's used the camera, and we're going to be reporting on the progress with his build. But you haven't used this microphone yet.
No, not yet. So you're the professional doing all the talking, and I can't compete with that, so I'll let you...
You let me do it. I am so honoured. So this is your existing bungalow. You do have somewhere to live while this project's going on.
Exactly. So now that camera's picked up the sound from this direct.
Right, so yes, so this is now transmitting wirelessly back to the camera, and with a bit of luck, when we play it back, you should hear us loud and clear.
Shall we try it?
We will. Tarragona is about an hour on the train out of Barcelona, and it's one of the places we have a stopover when we've got an early or a late flight inwards or outwards. This is a typical square in the town, but it's not a typical hotel that we stayed in on our most recent visit. The reception area offers free hot and cold drinks and lounge seating to sit and enjoy it. We took the lift up to our room on the 7th floor, and you gain entry to the rooms with a key card. The room offered one of the biggest beds we've ever slept in, with a full-width mirror behind it, and what the Americans call nightstands beside the bed, a thing that's missing from many budget hotels. They put the sinks in the rooms here, along with a mirror and some wardrobe hanging space and a fridge. The bathroom area offers a really decent sized shower, which was excellent, and of course the toilet, and the top window opens so that while you shower, if you wish, you can look out over the town and across to the sea. The bedroom area offers a desk for those who want to work and TV for those who want to relax. And you can feel free to draw back the curtains in the morning when you wake up, because you're not overlooked and you have a great view of the sunrise over the Mediterranean. We found on our recent hotel stays in Spain that single-use plastic bottles are banned and a new cardboard carton is used for agua, or water. This particular hotel, the B&B, leaves you a goodie bag outside your door in the mornings with some complimentary croissants and some of those cartons of water. With us using budget hotels quite a lot, we can generally find something to mark the hotel down about that we don't like. But here, no, we have to give it 10 out of 10, and we'll be back. Back at the station for our train to Barcelona, we see the little road train which we've been on our previous visits, and we wait for our train that will take us back home. We look forward to the next time we can come here and stay at the B&B Hotel. And now we've come to Hoylake on the Wirral, and the residents aren't very happy about this beach area. It's covered in grass, it's beginning to look like sandhills. The residents don't want it that way and have put up a sign to say so. We flew the drone along this beach a few years ago, and you can see that it's a sandy beach. Well, not anymore. The WBC on this poster refers to Wirral Borough Council, and you can see what the message to them is. Grassy beach aside, this is the lifeboat station. There's a monument to some of the lifeboat men. Alongside is a little boating lake. That's the sort for your model boats, by the way. And you might guess that if you want to live down here, it's quite expensive. This is a highly residential area with some pretty large houses. There's this Victorian water fountain as well, which was dedicated, it was put here for the children of Mells and Hoylake. Unfortunately for the children, there is no water coming out of it anymore, but it's still an interesting piece of work. Unfortunately, Wizz Air no longer fly from Liverpool to Varna Airport, so we haven't actually decided which route we're going to take in future. By the way, temperatures in the mid-teens are not guaranteed at Christmas. It has been known to snow, but the snow season seems to be pushing further into the new year in recent years. Well, it's 11 o'clock in the morning here, which means back at home it's 9 a.m. and I'm drinking beer. Now that isn't me at all. I criticise people who drink beer before midday, but sometimes you just have to. It's worth reminding you once again that this is the beach, this is February, it's 15 degrees and people are sitting out drinking in the sun. There's parkland all along the beachfront here in Varna, and Primorsky Park is the one that we spent most time in because there's so much going on. And it doesn't need to be summer for the people to turn out. If it's fine weather, they'll be here. Varna has a hidden beach which nobody seems to know about. I found a rather complicated way to get down here from a hotel I was staying in, and it's a really nice tranquil spot. If you're of the sort that likes to sit and look out to sea and meditate, try and find it. The hotel that was nearest to it was called the Briz 3, and this is it. This was a winter visit in November, and there was only myself and one other person in the hotel, and in the dining room I think I was the only person that came in for breakfast, so it was all done specially for me. Although it was completely deserted on my visit, you can see from the pictures that it's got a huge area of land, plenty of places to relax, and a swimming pool, and even a horse. This is Varna city centre, where I struggled to find someone who spoke my language. This guy didn't seem to want to talk to me at all. However, there's lots of great places to eat, and all the staff in there speak good English, so we had some fine meals while we were in Varna. And then every man and his dog goes back to their hotel for a good sleep. Or maybe just the dog.
Well, we stayed all day. We're getting sleepy, sitting in the car again.
Oh no, speak to me.
Home already. We're sleepy. We have stayed all day. We've been to the
Coming in for a close-up.
so have you came to.
Well, of course, Julie Felix's song refers to going to the zoo tomorrow and staying all day. This isn't the zoo the way you'll be staying all day, because there's not a lot here, but I worked out the price of admission is under £2 in sterling, so you don't need to justify it by staying all day. There's also an aquarium in Primorsky Park, similar situation, doesn't cost much to get in, and there's not much in there, but still worth a look.
Going to the zoo, zoo, zoo.
Loads of light coming in. This is a dual aspect room. It's got a couch and it's got a desk. It's got another TV on the wall. It's got air conditioning separately in here too. So we've got two rooms for our price of £25. Not only that, but out there, and the reason we've got so much light, is the Black Sea. we're going to go down to the beach again, and with the help of one of these tourist road trains, there are several of them taking different routes around the area, and let's jump on one of those and go along the beach and see what's out there. And finally, we need to come back into the city centre because very soon we have to catch our bus back to the airport and go home. This, of course, is always the saddest day of anybody's holiday. And so that was Varna on the Black Sea coast. Perhaps we'll visit another of our favourite places in Bulgaria next month, Svistov. It's not on the Black Sea, but it is on the River Danube, and we've had some really enjoyable times there. Well, I think the clues might well be behind me now as to where I am with this little chat. That's a statue of Nelson. There's a tower in the distance, but it's such a well-known tower, you should know what it is. And we'll be back here later on. First of all, I'd like to go back to Burnley in Lancashire because we've been looking at Steve Bushby's bungalow renovation a few months ago, and we're now going to return back there because the last few muddy months with all that weather and flooding and horrible stuff, he's been digging out the foundations and he's been filming it on his new Pocket 3 camera, and let's take a look at how that went. Burnley in Lancashire is a large town surrounded by open countryside. I get there by train, of course. There is a station in the centre of Burnley, but the line I use from Preston to York stops at this station. It's Burnley Manchester Road, and from there Steve picks me up in his car and takes me to where his bungalow development is taking place. His car is a plug-in hybrid. It's a Renault Captur, a car I'm quite fond of, and he charges it from the solar panels on his roof. We're able to show you the development of this bungalow because Steve has been using his DJI camera to film the progress on the footings and on putting in the drainage. And you'll see as the early months of this year moved on, there were sunny days, there were overcast days, there was frost and snow for some of the time, and quite a lot of flooding, just as there was in the rest of the country. The next stage is the delivery of the concrete. The ready mix needs to be barrowed in as quickly as possible, as we've said in previous projects. The guy on the left is the truck driver, and that's not a phone in his hand, that's actually the remote control for the chute at the back, with which he can control the flow of the concrete as well as the angle of delivery. To speed things up, they've got in a tipper truck, which takes a lot more concrete on each journey. A couple of wheelbarrows going through all the time, and there's somebody at the back who's shoveling it all out and levelling it into the footings. Building control said that the footings had to be particularly deep on the side of the house where the driveway is. It's to check the drains and such like. And there's a different delivery method here because a couple of barrows and a tipper just would never have got to the end of this one. So you'll notice there we have a pipe, a tube, whatever you like to call it, coming from the truck parked out on the street, and the concrete is literally pouring down the hole. The concrete blocks arrive and the foundations for the new extension are finally being built, and they do say that the hardest bit is getting out of the ground, and after that it just gallops along. Well, that may be a little optimistic, but we shall see as the months of 2024 progress. I have a couple of other property stories for you this month. First of all, a demolition. The House of Fraser in Birkenhead, which was due to be knocked down to build a new market. Well, I took some video of it in December and it was still standing then. I've recently been back and it's pretty much all knocked down now. The demolition has occurred, but the Wirral Council apparently have no plans to build the new market anymore. I'm in Portsmouth, and this is Milton Park in the Southsea area of Portsmouth, and the flats at the back of the park there, well, I've got one of those and I've had it since 2006, and I'm here because there were new regulations about fire doors that came in last year. We've had an inspection and we failed on a 7mm gap in the fire door. Back on the Wirral, and one of my ensuite rooms at my HMO has been vacated. We've done a few quick touch-ups and it's now back being advertised on spare room. So, double bed, fitted wardrobes, more double wardrobes, mirrored, or a shower, and a heated towel rail in here too, which is on. And this may look like a picture on the wall, but it's an infrared heater and it's very efficient. And an easy chair in a bay window with a view out onto the river. And here's Google Earth's look down on the River Mersey. The house we were just in is near Vale Park, and I used to live at Egremont Promenade just a little further along. I used to live in a first floor flat in this corner building overlooking the river, and we could see across to Liverpool, except of course when there was the famous mist over the Mersey. The cameras I had back then weren't as stable as the ones we have today, so here's some more recent footage of that particular promenade area. It's still very popular with everyone. The Egremont Ferry pub is still there, which is a surprise because most other pubs have closed down, and it still has that great view across to Liverpool.
Mist over the Mersey in the early morning sun.
The fastest route for train travel between Merseyside and Portsmouth, Hampshire, is to go via London. In London, we use the tube train to go from Euston to Waterloo. And that's a trip we make quite often. We did it a couple of months ago when we took Becky to London, and we got off at Waterloo and walked back towards Euston. We have a whole row of indicators of what trains are going out in front of us, and we picked the one for Portsmouth. We travelled to Portsmouth Harbour Station, which is right next to the bus station and the ferry terminals, on a street called the Hard. And on the corner of the Hard there's this pub called the Ship and Castle. And it was dark by the time we got there, as you can see, and we went into this pub because if you look just in the background you can see the Premier Inn where we were staying. Everything is very convenient around this area. The following morning we walked back around the corner to the Hard to catch our bus to go and see our tenant, and you'll see in the daylight some of the pubs along the front here and how convenient they are. And there's also this shellfish shop, and that's hard to say. It's right by the bus stop, and we catch our number 1 bus up to the flat. The flats are overlooking this park, it's Milton Park, and once we've signed up our tenants for another year, we head off across the water by taking the ferry to Gosport. This is Gosport. I was last here last October, and I got off the ferry from Portsmouth to Gosport, and I just went up the high street and had a look. Semi-derelict, like a lot of high streets in Britain. I didn't go any further. Well, today I've come onto the outskirts of the town. Town centre is literally just over there, and I don't know if you can see, but there's 2 bits of water here. There's a pond here which they were sailing on earlier. They're little toy boats, and I'm sure they're not wanting me to call them toys because they're models, and that's called the Cocky Pond. Yeah, the Cocky Pond, whereas this is a lake on this side. It's called the Haslar Lake, I think, and from what I can see it flows out under a bridge in the distance there. And I had a look on the map, and it actually goes right out into the Solent and from there on out to sea in the English Channel. So let's give a bit more credibility to this area. It's not just a rundown high street. There's a lot of amenities all around here, including on the Cocky Pond a very nice cafe bar that overlooks the lake. So I think that's where we need to go for our coffee break.
Pour me another cup of coffee.
You can see that the cafe has a dome on the top, and we went inside for the coffee and had a look up inside the dome. It's right over the top of an area which we think could be used for a dance floor, as they do offer functions at this venue. We've made several visits to Portsmouth over the years, and we seem to always focus on Gunwharf Quays, the Spinnaker Tower and all the well-known bits, so we're going to try and do something a little bit different this time, and we're keeping our eye on wall murals as well, literally. As you probably know, Portsmouth has strong naval connections, and we took a little walk down Queen Street just to show you some of this and some of the pieces of ironwork that have been left lying around on the pavement. From Queen Street we walked in a route that bypassed the whole of the Quays area with all the ferry terminals and so on. We may see a bit more of those later. We headed for Old Portsmouth, as that is the site of Portsmouth Cathedral. I'm not in the habit of taking my camera into many churches, but after all this is a cathedral and this is in a place that I visit regularly, so I thought I owed it to myself to have a look round. I thought it appropriate to look at the area we're walking through from the other side. So this is a bit of film from Gosport again. And on the map you can see Old Portsmouth down the bottom. The Gunwharf Quays White Link Terminal with the ferries is at the top. And we're heading for Spice Island to get our lunch. On our walk down to the pub, we passed Horatio Nelson's statue and a bombed-out church from the 13th century. And seeing as we showed you the White Link Terminal on the map, here is what it looks like in real life. I didn't think you'd want to watch us eating in the pub, some nice views out the window, and a glass of cider that I wanted to take the glass home. Ruth didn't have a big enough handbag. For even better views, the Spice Island Inn has an upstairs, and I should point out, in all fairness, there are other pubs very close by that we could have gone to. Going back to my shots from Gosport, you can just about see the two pubs from a view across the Solent. We now head back to Gunwharf Quays to get our afternoon train back up north, and of course then we do have to see the Spinnaker Tower and that huge HMS Warrior. I've still got the tin of mints. These are travel mints, so I'm travelling. I've left Portsmouth now. There's a few mints left, so I can travel further today. I wish I hadn't gone and had my breakfast in Costa, nice mac and cheese, but the sun was here before. By the time I'd finished in Costa, it had gone very overcast. I'm not going to tell you where I am, because that's for next month. I've left Portsmouth though, and I've just got a few more things before we wrap up for March. This is a train at Headbolt Lane Station. It's heading for Blackburn. It goes an awfully long way round, and I know this because I was at Burnley Manchester Road earlier on in the month, and I saw a train going in the opposite direction to me. I was heading for Preston, and it was going to Kirby Headbolt Lane, so I thought that was odd, but it goes all around the world via Manchester, and it's about an hour and a half's trip. Might try that one day. Here's a place we've earmarked to go back to, Castelldefels de Fels, just outside Barcelona. We stayed overnight here on a recent trip, and this Anekblau, I think that says, is a huge centre full of foodie places, and we didn't know it was there, so next time I'm sure we'll be using it. I think there's a sign that the sun is coming out now, so maybe I will stay here a bit longer and see if it actually does light the place up a bit more. But I'm in an area, this is the only clue you're going to get, and you may know the answer to this, where Progressive Property operate. And I've been on another training course, and something we were taught yesterday by a professional photographer from Sheffield was how to take good quality photographs of your property. He works for lots of estate agents around his area, and his photographs were so much better than the ones that run of the mill on the estate agents' Rightmove websites. So we learnt a lot from him, and he also has the same drone as I do, and he flies it indoors when he's taking property photographs. I only did that once. I was down in Portsmouth when our flat was empty, and I flew the drone round the flat and then out across the balcony towards the park. But I didn't want to lose it or risk not getting it back, so that's where I left it. I just brought it back in again. But yesterday, Johnny Brown's was flying it in the training room where we were. It's a bit far away from the camera. You may just be able to make it out. I've turned around now, so I'm facing the lake and you can see what's behind me, and just up the bank is the main London Road. But London Road where? And I'm sure some of you will know the answers to that by now. And I'm going to leave you this month with a fun fair, a fair that is in the city that I'm staying in at the moment, and the sun was setting and I thought it looked rather nice because we got some photographs of the fair and you can see a beautiful sky in the background. And I'll end on that this month and see you during April.